formed in your mother's womb, you have a gene coding with 640 lettered codes. Each and every gene represents, say, approximately for a characteristic protein formation. Approximately about 10,000 base pairs forms a single gene. 10,000, approximately 10,000 base pairs forms a single gene. Minimum of 3 genes, that means 30,000 base pairs, helps to form a single protein. We have lakhs and lakhs of protein in our body, different types of proteins. A cell formed in the buccal mucosa is different. For example, if you can understand, I want to make you understand the representation of these genes. For example, mother, it is all inherited. The gene is inherited from father and mother to us. And like, for example, if your father is having a black, say, eyes, and your mother is having a green eyes, and when the combination is there, when your mother's gene is dominating, and there is a possibility, and the green eyes are transmitted or inherited into your gene. You being a child, your eyes may be green in color. So this is the representation. Likewise, each and every characteristic features of your body is a representation of basically from your father and mother, and everything is being represented from all these base pairs, and which say I told you about 10,000 base pairs makes a gene, and each about minimum of 3 genes, maximum of thousands of genes make a single protein. Protein is made up of, say, how it is made. These genes need to form a DNA, and this DNA forms a say kind of a negative which will create a protein. Say this will be like a mold, and here the protein is made based on the negatives. So these genes helps in formation of the proteins, different varieties of protein. For example, if we take muscles, there are 3 types of muscles. One is the skeletal muscles, which means, say, my buccal muscles, cheek muscles are skeletal muscles, and my arm muscles, thigh muscles, for you also, for every human being, it is, we call it as skeletal muscles. It is a type of a protein which forms these cells, the skeletal muscles. It is for endurance, it is for weightlifting, it is to carry the body, and it will not continuously fire continuously for 24 hours. It's not possible, the skeletal muscles, and it is a different variety. And we have another types of cells called smooth muscle cells, which are all present inside the blood vessels, inside the respiratory tract, inside our digestive tract, inside the urinary tubes, so ureters or urethras. All the say inside inner parts are made up of these smooth muscles. And third is one special variety, and that is called, we call it as the cardiac muscle cells. And this is made up of a different type of protein. And these are all variants. Likewise, for our eyes, for our retina, for our cornea, whatever the, say, even the teeth, even the enamels, everything is represented in the genetic genome, in our genome. Everything, even the color, even the make, even I can say you, if the smile, what I'm doing, or what you are smiling, or the facial representation, everything is being a representation of your parents, as simple as that. And I told you, we have about 640 crore letters being trafficked from your mother and father to you. And unless it is the best and best, if there is a spelling mistake, if there is a loss of a comma, or a full stop is not there, or hyphen is not there, I'm just making you understand by giving you an example. And there may be a loss of a little finger, or there may be, you can be a colorblind, or you can be a diabetic, inherited itself just because of a loss of a single gene. It is a possibility. So gene, when it is trafficked when it is transferred from your father and mother, the best and best of the genes are being trafficked, and it need to be done. When there is a failure in trafficking these the best genes from your parents, we end up with the big losses, not normal losses. And what are the influences? What are the influences? Once, we are matured, say for a male, he matures by around 14 years. For a female, she matures around, say, it's starting from 9 years onwards. I have seen plenty of children who reach their menarche by around 11 years. 9 years also, we have seen. And say approximately 11 years to 14 years is the time female matures. From then onwards, they will be generating the ovum. And from 14 years, approximately 13 to 14 years, 13 to 15 years, the male matures and he starts generating the sperms. But those days, the initial days, the ovum and the sperms will be immature, and it will be there. It will be there, capable of bringing out an offspring, but their physique will not be adequately matured enough to handle to give a childbirth. And that's what scientifically, medically, we all say male or female need to be more than 18 years. At least for a male, it should be minimum of more than 18 to give the best genetic representation for the next generation. And hope you understood the whole concept. Now I will come into the topic, how on-to-man O2 is going to influence these things. And there is the hinge, there is the clutch. And every human being are represented by a volumes and volumes of characteristic, unique characteristics, which we can differentiate from each and every human being. People say around the world we always have seven identical persons. Say Dr. Chella, there will be 6 more Dr. Chellas around the world, but it's not true. Maybe that physical appearance may be relevant, but the environmental influences will make them a far different person from a single person, anybody. So unless it is an identical twin, where the single ovum is fertilized by 2 sperms and they form 2 children, identical twins, they may have almost same facial or physical appearance, but still even their the thumb or the finger things will be different for both of them. And that is the uniqueness of the human genome. Genome is a genome. It's a miracle. Human genome is something we can't even bring it into our imagination. Think of writing coding coding a software or coding one machine with 640 characteristics, letters, and it is practically impossible. A supercomputer can do that, but it cannot form a single life by itself. It's never possible. A supercomputer can calculate. It can create a software. It can create a calculation, do a calculations, but it's not possible for a supercomputer to create a life. That is the very big important thing in our human genome. So this 320 crore letters, the genetic representation, base pairs from the father, and 320 crore base pairs. It means, for your understanding, I call it as letters from the mother, combined together to say what protein need to be produced, what color of eyes, what size of your nose, what size of your teeth, what age the teeth has to erupt, what age it has to fall, what age the permanent teeth has to be formed, what age your mush has to develop, what age your mush has to gray or your beard has to gray. Everything is represented in your genome. So when and the very crucial important thing is that whatever the gene represented at your age of 25 years is no way connected when the same person, you are, your gene is produced at your 26th year, 27th year. It's different, entirely different. Whatever the learnings you have taken from the environment, from the world, from the globe, from the others, neighbors, everything is incorporated into your genes. This is the secret. And you always will be wondering, say, a child, there'll be four children for approximately four or three children for in a family of father and mother, and first child will be it will be influenced by the father's characteristic, second child may be influenced by the mother's characteristic, and third child will be no way connected and will be represented by grandparents or great great grandparents futures. And this is the magic human genome carries, and it's not in our hand. When the parents genes are dominated by grandparents or great grandparents futures, if at all that was the best character in their body, then that will be represented in the offspring, that in the child, grandchildren's. And this is all miracle. It is beyond our imagination, beyond our thinking, and this is what we need to take care. The best and best out of the our body has to be represented to our children, and for which there are plenty of ingredients we have made sure the O2 carries, so that there is absolutely no flaws, there is no fault in the genome. I told you, even a small linkage or a base pair is missing in a gene, that will be represented in a bigger manner, like a loss of a finger or loss of a hand, loss of a eyes, or any other feature also. Physically, it may be a small, but it's going to replicate the same type of protein in million times. So what happens, the protein will be totally absent or denatured or different or flawed protein, and that makes us very say bad when we are born. And this much important is that our genome has to be taken care. When we are say getting married, those are the years, say at least about we need to give at least about 3 months, minimum of 90 days to 150 days for our for making our gene perfect. Hope you understood. Say if you are married and if you are planning to have a child, and before your marriage, if you are had a very stressful life, try to postpone the event. Hope you understand. And to make sure you have the best out of your best characteristic, you need to have a very good food, good nutrition, good physical activity. Everything should be perfect to create your best representation for your offsprings. And this requires to generate a complete sperm with the complete representation for a male, or for to create a ovum, the fullest representation, it need to be done. The mother need to be very say mother or father, both of them, say they need to be have a very organized systematic life with to create the best genes in their body, at least for 90 days, minimum of 90 days, maximum of about 150 days, 5 months. So that will make sure you will have the best represented genes in your children. And for that, during the period, what is the importance, and what is that O2 can help, how is that O2 can help. And even after that, say even if at all, say somebody, most people here nowadays, by around 25 years to 35 years, it's a normal childbearing age, where people get married by around 23 24 years. Say in the generation it's changing. My generation, during my parents generation in 1970s, it's about 20 to 25 years. By the time the people are almost they have got married. And the next generation during 90s to 2000, it was around 25 to 30s. And now in 2010s and 2020, we are in 2020. Now 30 years is the 30 to 35 years is the normal normal age group where people get married. The trend is changing, but ideally, it depends on your physique, how much you are damaging your system, or how much you are protecting your system. It's all depends on each and every individual. So to make sure you have the best represented characteristic in your offspring, in your children, you need to be you need to work hard, really work hard, for at least for about 5 months time. So how to work hard? What is that you need to? I told you the representations. I told you about the genes. I told you about the chromosomes. Hope you understand the whole concept of the human genome. And I told you about how many volume of base pairs. Think of arranging in a miniature, minute, microscopic manner, A, B, C, D, E, F. You repeat it for about 640 crore times a single letter, or see all these letters. How long it will be? It is all within a single cell, the zygote, and everything is there in our system. It is being represented as a human body. When we grow, when we aging, we till our death, everything is represented there. And to make sure the cells are in the testis of a male, or in the ovary of a female, start taking oncoban O2, that will create an excellent ambience for the creation of best sperms, best characteristic. Whatever the cells in the oxidative stressful period, oxidative stressful condition, it will be corrected, it will be altered, it will be rectified, it will be completely repaired, so that the genes made out from these cells will have the best representation. For example, I'll just tell you one small example. A person who is around 35 years gets married, and to a lady who is around 32 years. I'm just giving you an example for that, so that you can understand easily. Excuse me, just 1 second, 1 second. Call me after all. Sorry for the break. Okay. When a person aged around approximately 35 years, and a female who is aged around 32 years gets married, and they have already had a they have faced the environment, they have faced the situation, whatever the situation may be, they would have lived a very perfect life also. By the age, the stress would have been in the larger manner. And for example, a small example I will tell you. By that age, if at all they had extreme levels of carbohydrates, or if they had extreme stress, and they had a very rampant dietary patterns, and beyond their limit, if the beta cells in their body started malfunctioning, and their blood sugar levels are on the 150s and 160s, the beta cells are the heavy oxidative stress, and insulin secretion is either it is resistant insulin is developed, or the insulin deficiency is there. The same representation will be made in the gene of their the mother or father for the offspring. So this makes the child to have type 1 diabetes, or the diabetes by the time the child is born itself. So hope you understood how the things are happening. If the same thing, if the same parents are 25 years and 22 years, and 25-year male and a 22-year-old female, and they are in the earliest stages, they have completed their colleges, and they are not under any stress, just got married, and they're having a good food. Say once into your job, once into your career, then a lot of stress gets into your mind. And there are people who even into their career don't take stress into their mind and into the body also. They lead a very strict and disciplined life. It's all dictated, or it's all guided by the parents. It depends on the parents' lifestyle. And the child who is earlier, people who are 25 and 22 getting married, and their stressful days are very less, and the same beta cells will have the highest possible characteristic. So their offspring, the less chance that the offspring, the child will have diabetic, childhood diabetes or early diabetes. So see the difference. And the why we don't advise, doctors generally don't advise to have children beyond 35 years is that there is a higher incidence of such deletions in the genes, such oxidative stress happening in the say gene makeup, and this leads to faulty makeup of proteins, and that ultimately makes a big damage in the children's makeup, the whole makeup. So try. It is not a. I'm talking science. It is not a belief. I'm talking science. So when you are getting married in the late 20s, and very high chance when if you have undergone a stressful period, no questions, after getting married, at least give some space of time before entering into the childbearing mindset. I told you 90 days to 150 days, so that you can correct, you can repair, you can rejuvenate your whole system, so that out of any make the body out of any oxidative stress with the help of oncoban O2, and that will make sure your gene makeup, your children's gene makeup is made perfect. And each and every representation, each and every cell in the human body has oxidative stress every day, every minute. Say, for example, eyes, we take eyes and we take the retina. The retina is uh, third layer. In the eyes, there are three layers. And the inside part is the retina, where it has rods and cones. The rods are the component which rods and cones are the two major components which identify black and white lights as well as the color lights. And if we are exposed to bright lights continuously in our younger age, say seeing plenty of mobile screens or the TV screens, or whichever the screen where it can generate its the light source is there in the screen itself. I'm not talking about the books. Books does not have the light source, and light source is external and book only reflects it. But mobile phone or the TV screens has the light source by within, so it directly reaches the rods and cones, the retina, the most sensitive part of our eyes, which converts the light energy into the electrical impulses, and it sends it to the brain, and then we decide whether it's a tube light or it's a floor or whatever we see, the medals or whatever we see, we decide based on that only. Even the color, everything we see based on these rods and cones sensitivity. What happens if it is in the earlier age? These rods and cones are very active. Say something like, say 25-year-old person will have very active, very high energy level, and by 30 to 35, the energy level would have come down. Basically, they would have settled as a managers or the higher positions, and the movement would have come down. The thinking part would have been more, and the stress part in their brain will be more. That's a usual tendency across the globe. And this happens, what happens when the age moves up beyond 30 years, 35 years, if we are highly exposed to the LED lights, if we are highly exposed to the light sources, these rods and cones become highly stressed with the oxidative stress, and they start losing its ability to track the bright light. And this in turn is represented in our gene. What happens? This leads to this one part. Another thing is the lens part. So if you're going to read only the mobile phones and the TV screen and the laptop screens or the computer screens, which means our accommodation. Say we are our lens is a kind of a jelly, and the surrounding muscles called ciliary muscles, which contracts and expands to make the adjustments, lens adjustments by itself. Everything is automatic. And what happens? We are going to, if we are going to read continuously the mobile phones or the say laptop screens or the computer screens, the accommodation is fixed for the shorter vision. So shorter distance, we are regularly seeing more time. We are exposed to the ciliary muscle being inactive for only for the shorter distance vision. and same thing will be represented for your children also. And this makes the children viable or liable to become say myopic in early childhood itself, and they start wearing the spectacles. Everything is represented in our gene. So even if you can correct it, you can correct it. Only thing we need to make sure, I told you 90 days to 150 days. It depends on how much oxidative stress prior you had is the part. If you have had very less oxidative stress prior to your marriage and prior to the event of having a child, then 90 days is enough to have correcting yourself, repairing your whole system, oxidative stress to near normalcy. And if the damage has happened beyond a limit, then it requires at least 150 days, 5 months for you to correct your whole system before getting into an event of having a child. So these are the basic secrets I just want to share with you all. And to make sure to have a better child, O2, I don't want to. I have already talked about Talisipatri. I talked already about other all other special ingredients. We have been incorporated into the Oncoban O2. It's a very very unique and very one of its kind, where it has been used by our all the say Rajputs and Rajas. These things has never been into the uh, books, into papers. It has been say kept secret always. That's a mechanism in olden days. But what has happened in recent days, what has happened, documenting it and opening it to the public is the strength. Whatever has been there in the past, it need to be for every human being. Each and every human being, each and every one of you is Rajput. Each and every one of you are Rajas. I feel we human beings need to have the better say life in our next generation, and for which O2 helps immensely. Start taking O2 for about minimum of 90 days before thinking getting into a childbearing event. And sorry, if at all, I hope you understood the whole the stress or the oxidative stress. What will happen? How the representation happens in your gene, in your sperm, or in your ovum. So the highest, if at all, you had a very high stressful life before your marriage, before your childbearing event, then give at least 5 months time, minimum of 5 months time, to make sure your system gets ready with the help of Oncoban O2, and have the best and best child, or let it be a Hercules, or let it be a, say, you think of your own Rajput in your mind, I say, or the queen, or in your mind, so that the best represented genes will create a best quality offspring or the child, and who can rule the world with their knowledge, with their physics. Health is wealth always. And whatever we are giving to our children, let it not be in the terms of money or gold or land. It is all the genes. Whatever the genes we create, the best is the best wealth we can give it for our children. It is nothing else. Nothing else. Say, even if at all you are having 100 kilos of gold with you, it can go in minutes. It can go away in minutes. Even if you're going to have hundreds and hundreds of acres of land with you, it can go away in minutes. No way, say, by a small mistake, a small decision, wrong decision, can take away a whole wealth from you away. But this gene, what you are giving for your children, nobody can take. And the same, the education, whatever I am imparting to you, or whatever you are going to impart to your children, nobody can take it away. Say, try to give the best and best gene to your children, and try to educate your children in starting. Whatever you have learned, start educating your children. That is the best wealth we can give it to our next generation. It's not the gold, not the bonds, nothing physical can stand in front of these genes. I told you 640 crore letters. Think of the volume. How can you equate it to your wealth of land or gold or say whatever it may be? We can't equate at all. So, this is the secret. Take it by heart and spread the message. Being a Vevetosians, you have taken a big secret you have never thought of in your life. And what we need to create is the best genes in our system until our death. It's not only for the offspring, I repeat, not to create children's only. Even after that, after you had your children, if at all your system is in the oxidative stress, till your death, you need to have the best characteristics to so that you always spread the brightness, you always spread the rays for all the human betterment of the humankind. And I wish all the Vevetosians will be doing it across the world to make sure for the betterment of human race, for each and every human life. And let us create a world which is abundant with health and abundant with wealth also. Wealth, I mean the genetic wealth. And great day. I can't finish it off. There are plenty of things to share, but still, time is running out. Jai Hind, Jai Vevetos, Namaskar.